One, and we are recording with Miss Clare Lopez, and you were the last episode I did before I went on vacation up to see family. Got back a couple days ago and was violently ill with the flu or
Oh,
something. You can see all around my eyes all the burst
oh no.
capillaries from throwing up. Even when you really throw up and your capillaries burst around your eyes, and yeah, that's a nice visual.
Oh, that's awful. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
but uh, got some sleep last night. Went to the gym today. Feeling those Fourth of July hamburgers on my stomach as I'm doing reps. I can feel it jiggling. So that's inspiration to get back at it. But I'm a little rusty. This is the first podcast in 12 days. So luckily for us, it's a short one. But just jump into it. Uh, Shinzo Abe being assassinated.
Yeah. So you may have seen the new op-ed piece that I wrote for my Newsmax blog, and it's about the assassination, and it came out yesterday. It's called Abe's Death Heightens China Threat to Taiwan. And when I first heard about the assassination, this is the end of last week, I was immediately reminded of what happened right before 9/11. And this is what I write in the article. Folks may recall that just a couple days before the attacks of 9/11, September 11, 2001, a senior leadership figure of the Afghan opposition forces to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, named Ahmed Shah Massoud, was assassinated. And what happened is that the Iranians, who of course orchestrated, directed, executed the attacks of 9/11 together with Al-Qaeda, recruited a couple of Al-Qaeda operatives, North African background, recruited them in Brussels, Belgium, and trained them and transported them and equipped them with a bomb, a suicide bomb that was hidden inside of a camera as these two posed as journalists doing an interview with Ahmed Shah Massoud. And he was killed, and I think they both were too, I believe. But what that did is took off the battlefield a very important figure who would have led what was called the Northern Alliance of Afghan forces fighting already against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, but knowing, Iran, of course, knowing what would happen on 9/11, because they orchestrated the whole thing, realized that his leadership, key leadership, needed to be removed before the attack, because they fully expected, as happened, that U.S. and NATO forces would respond and would attack Al-Qaeda and Taliban in Afghanistan after 9/11, which of course is exactly what happened. And they wanted Ahmed Shah Massoud off the battlefield. They didn't want his leadership, his charisma, his abilities to be in the mix. Well, that reminded me of that when I heard the news about Shinzo Abe, Japanese former prime minister, being assassinated end of last week. And I think that having him taken off the scene before what could be a Chinese invasion of Taiwan and further, if we all recall, I think we talked about it here with you, Tommy, on the show, the May 14, 2022 leaked audio tape out of Beijing, where a bunch of CCP, Chinese Communist Party, and PLA, People's Liberation Army officials met to discuss administrative details for moving China from peacetime to a wartime footing about the invasion of Taiwan. But in that recording, it wasn't just about invading Taiwan. It was about clearing the entire South China Sea of US and any other allied vessels, naval vessels, shipping. And that, of course, would include members of the Quad, the so-called Quad, that's India, Japan, US, and Australia, and would of necessity indicate basically a much larger offensive. And Shinzo Abe had been speaking openly and widely. He's a founder, was a founder and leader of the Japanese Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP, which, by the way, just won a landslide in the parliamentary elections that were not postponed after his killing. They were held, and the LDP, his party, won an overwhelming majority in the Diet, that's the Japanese parliament. Well, Shinzo Abe, on behalf of the LDP, he was speaking at a campaign event for that party when he was killed. But in those various appearances and other speeches he made over at least the last year, longer, he very clearly stated that an attack by Beijing on Taiwan would be viewed, must be viewed as a national security threat to Japan itself, and that Japan must respond in such case to defend Taiwan as well as its own islands. And if you think about the geography there, the islands of Japan are tucked up right against in an island chain, including others, against the Asian mainland, not far off from North and South Korea, and then extending south along the Asian landmass, or coastal area, and then just south of the southernmost of those Japanese islands is Taiwan. So you can see why they would be very concerned about a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, as well as open admission of intent to sweep the South China Sea. So this is what Abe had been talking about, and openly trying to urge Japan to move to a more robust, maybe we should say, military posture, military readiness. Since World War II, and understandably, and in the Constitution of Japan, written under the guidance of General Douglas MacArthur, Japan promised to have only a national defense force, and very much minimized at that. Well, Abe, seeing the rising threat of an aggressive CCP, was urging Japan to move beyond that earlier, character for the sure. Defense forces, and make them more robust. In response, I'm looking here at the quote that I have in my article here. The Chinese responded aggressively to Abe speaking on these things. And in December of 2021, so just 7-8 months ago, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin warned, quote, "Anyone who dares to return to the old path of militarism," meaning Japan, "and defy the limits of the Chinese people will face a bloodbath." But
fun guy.
Abe did not heed that warning. He continued to speak out. And we shall see the outcome of what's certain to be a very intensive investigation of his assassination. But whatever that result may be, I don't think there's any question this was an assassination by the CCP. And as I said, one last point here that occurs to me, it's what the military would call preparation of the battlefield, as happened in Afghanistan before 9/11. In my opinion, that's what that was about.
Yeah. What was that you said in Afghanistan before 9/11?
Right, preparation of the battlefield. In other words, taking out Ahmed Shah Massoud in advance of 9/11, prepared the battlefield to come after 9/11, when the US and NATO forces would invade Afghanistan.
So that's what my final question was going to be, is then, was this state sanctioned or not? And it's,
We don't know for sure, but
that's
it
a whole
sure
other,
looks that way.
that's a whole nother, bag of burritos or something, whatever, however the hell the saying goes. Is, but like,
Don't talk about tacos. Somebody got in big trouble for that this morning.
really?
The president's wife, the first lady, Jill Biden, was speaking, I guess, to an audience of Hispanic voters. And she said something to the effect, she was trying to be, I guess, complimentary of, Hispanic communities in the United States. And she said something to the effect of them being as unique as your breakfast tacos, which did not go over well.
Christ almighty.
Yeah.
It's like Hillary Clinton having that, was the bottle of hot sauce in her purse.
Pretty bad.
Whew. All right. We won't use tacos, but it's a whole other thing when it's just an assassination versus, is it Lee Harvey Oswald, or are there more insane implications? Is it 9/11? Is it a Saudi state? Is it on and on and on? You always have the lone gunman or the whack job or the whatever, and then you have to wonder, are these just, is someone pulling the puppets? Because there are such thing as lone gunmen. Like there
could be. There could be. I really don't think that's the case in
Neither do
this
I.
situation.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
And Japan, as your listeners may know, is one of the most gun restrictive countries on the face of the earth. It's illegal to own a gun.
Did you see the picture?
It's homemade, some kind of a homemade firearm with a couple double barrels taped together.
I think it has 8 barrels.
The more were found, I guess, at his residence, wherever he lived. So it's very much a homemade device, and definitely, personal security around Abe slipped up very badly to let this guy get as close as he got to the former prime minister in order to fire this device at him.
Insane. Yeah, no, they found an even bigger one in his home.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one he's holding is kind of.
It appeared on in the media. Yeah.
It almost kind of looks like a photographer's thing. But
that he was allowed to get that close, to the former prime minister, was a real failure of Abe's security team.
Yeah. Well, then, so is that an inside thing? Are there infiltrators in there?
Investigation will be very thorough, I'm sure.
I can't find the picture of the 8-barreled one, but yeah, it would be, so that would lead one to conclude that we are absolutely heating up towards a Taiwan invasion of Taiwan.
Well, I mean, I think Abe himself certainly believed that, and that is why he was so adamant in speaking out about Japan's national defense needs, requirements. He would have been the one within a very fractious democratic parliamentary system in Japan to unify not just his own party, the Liberal Democratic Party, but broader, Japanese society in the face of Chinese aggression. He would have been the one to take the lead within the Quad, for example. And he would have been a very, very significant figure in the defense of East Asia writ large against Chinese aggression. And now he won't be there anymore.
And seeing as how we still have 10 minutes left, though, would you like to comment on the 450 gigabytes of Hunter Biden and his his adventures?
There are some images you just can't get out of your head. So this hacker group, and I really don't know who they are. What's it called?
4chan. It's more of a web. It's been around since like I was little.
Okay.
It's just a website.
Well, I don't know. An
amalgamation of anonymous. It's an amalgamation of tens of thousands of anonymous people.
Okay. Well, somehow these people sort of hacked into, I guess, the iCloud archive of Hunter Biden's phone, right? It was the phone
Yeah.
in this case, right? And began dumping image after image after image, including videos, onto the internet. And of course, this has set, the news world and media world abuzz. And it's really, it's horrific stuff. But as some of the commentators last night on the news programs pointed out, because of the images on that dump, you've got what are clearly prostitutes, hookers, with photographs of themselves on an Amtrak train, paid for by Hunter Biden, and then there's the check image as well for that payment. Transporting those hookers from one state to another state. So that is interstate transport for the purposes of prostitution, and that's illegal. So everybody waiting to see, is there going to be a prosecution for what is very evidentially, a felony, among other things.
Like, I mean, some of the stuff, it's all depraved.
Oh,
Some of it, though, I look at it and I'm like, hey, depraved. But, if there was just some random guy doing this in Baltimore, I wouldn't. I try to see my own biases. I'm like, yeah, it's a guy smoking crack. It's bad, but,
it's also illegal.
It's all illegal, sure.
Just to mention.
No, but yeah, no, I get it. You see, these guys in a glass elevator with hookers and champagne. I'm like, I mean, that doesn't not look like something that one of my friends from college has done.
Well, I mean, if that's done locally with the prostitutes, that's one thing. But paying for the interstate transport of those prostitutes, that's the felony.
Yeah, but what I want to say is it kind of makes the shift from like a wild weekend in Vegas, drinking in the elevator, not wearing your pants. Okay, not my cup of tea, but I have some wild friends. It gets weird when it's counting it or it's weighing the crack, and there are what look like underage girls there, or one girl with like a bag over her head, and he's wearing a sweater that says youth counselor, and he has his dad in his phone as Pedo Pete. And it's like, dude, what? And I get inside jokes. My dad's in my phone as old man. Okay, I'll give you that. Pedo Pete, his name. Maybe if his name was Pete, maybe you could be like, yeah, I'm just fucking with the old man. Pedo Pete. I mean, but it makes me think, just like, was this a random assassination, or are there deeper machinations? I can't help but feel like this was, in a way, some sort of attack on Biden. It's not as open as an assassination. And I know now that I've said assassination and Biden in the same word, I'm probably going to be visited by the FBI. But
you mean the images?
Yeah, it seems
hacked
like
into by this group.
Hacked. It seems a little more like an opponent of his would be like, why don't you just put those out there?
Well, once they got a hold of them, I mean, for sure they were going to publish them, no question. But it does go back, to so many other elements of this whole story, on the Hunter Biden laptop, the testimony of somebody like a Tony Bobolinsky, all of the indicators, the research, intensive research done, incredible, by Peter Schweitzer, for example. There is so much there that directly implicates Joe Biden and other members of the family in what certainly look like alleged criminal activity. All of these, what do they call them? Suspicious activity reports, banking reports submitted to the U.S. Department of the Treasury when banks, saw a red flag with a Hunter Biden banking transactions, over 150 of them, unheard of number. all of these things taken together, I mean, the point is, this is not just one, wayward son.
Yeah.
This is a lot broader, issue than that, especially when his father, directly implicated, is the president of the United States.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, maybe it starts to make sense that we're sending the strategic oil reserve, a million here, a million there, balance, billions of
Well,
gallons
a
to
million
China.
anywhere except to American suffering
Of
citizens
course.
is wrong. But when that oil is sent out of our strategic reserve to
To our
a
enemies.
company of the Chinese Communist Party, in which Hunter Biden has had a financial interest, then there are more questions raised.
Yeah, there are a lot of treasonous, seditionist questions raised, but I don't know. Part of me thinks we'll see something. Part of me doesn't. I don't know. Seems SCOTUS is kind of walking around with a big stick lately. Maybe they're not done hitting shit yet.
Well, I am encouraged to end on an up note here today. Encouraged by the recent decisions at the end of the term this year in June 2022, coming out of the Supreme Court with that 5 justice majority, which are, of course, Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, who together seem intent upon rulings that are textually originalist based in the Constitution. That is to say, for example, returning powers not enumerated in the Constitution for the federal government, returning such powers where they belong, to the states and or to the people. That to me is encouraging, and I am looking forward to the next session and decisions that will certainly be coming out of that session to come.
Absolutely. And with that, Ms. Clare Lopez, let's wrap this one up. I will put the links to all of your stuff in the description. Go check her out. Go follow her on Twitter. Go read her good stuff. And until next week. Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Take care.
Thank you.